had, some great questions pop up for the hashtag Ask Scott. And I got hit with one from a friend of mine, texted it to me. He said, dude, I love listening to your podcast, but can you ask Scott this question? It's my buddy Ryan, huge wrestling fan. He said, hey, dude, can you ask Scott what are his top three favorite matches he's ever wrestled?
Oh, wow. Uh, hmm. So I can tell you. Look, I don't want to put them in order because they're all. I guess they would be super important to me. Jim Cornette and Jim Cornette was the manager for Dory and Terry Funk, and my dad was on the outside as our manager for me and my brother Steve. And we wrestled it in Knoxville Coliseum. And look, Dory and Terry Funk were just, I think we might have talked about this on an earlier episode, but they were like idols to my brothers and I because they were brothers. Dory and Terry, they were brothers. And they were both world champions at different stages in their career. And so to say we idolized them is an understatement. We did. And so to be in the ring with those guys, man, well, I mean, in any young guy's career, a dream come true. And it definitely was for my brother Steve and I'll never forget. I think I may have told the story before too. I was so nervous. And we were about to walk out and my dad noticed that I was really warming up and really trying to get my head wrapped around because look, I don't know anybody that's listening. If you ever watch Dory Funk throw an uppercut, they were in there. And so there wasn't, you didn't whine about, oh, hey, you caught me with that. That was a little snug, man. Come on. You took them. And he threw a lot of them. And so I was really getting warmed up to, go to battle. And so, and Terry, you don't know if you're going to get hit with a left in the forehead as hard as he can throw one or a headlock that will literally almost put you to sleep. He was just all over the place. And so I'm getting really, and my dad goes, hey, boy, you good? And I said, yes, sir. And he went, no, I mean, you okay with this? I mean, you look like you're a little getting ready a little more than normal. And I started laughing and I said, I don't know, I'm just nervous. And he said, you're nervous? And because I'd been wrestling, I don't know, 10 years at the time, maybe longer. I don't know, wow. And he said, you're nervous? And I said, Dad, it's Dory and Terry Funk. And he started laughing and he went, hey, guess what? They're just wrestlers like us. And I said, I know. And he goes, and guess what else? They're just brothers like you and Steve. And Steve started laughing. And I said, yeah, I know you're right, Dad. I said, but I've got it in my head that they're Dory and Terry Funk that I've watched as a child. I watched their dad, Dory Sr. And so, cause I was a little older than my other brothers. So I loved wrestling growing up. They were into baseball or, Brad played baseball and football and they weren't into wrestling like I really watched it and loved it. And so, don't get me wrong, they loved wrestling, but I just worshiped it. I thought it was the best thing ever. And so, I really idolized those two guys. And so when we got in the ring and had that match, I'll never forget getting in the ring and Knoxville Coliseum was slammed. I mean, there was so many people there. And I remember getting in the ring and just looking down and there's my dad and then looking across the ring and there's Dory and Terry Funk. And I look down and there's Jim Cornette and I look over and there's my tag team partner who was my own brother. And dude, I think about that now and literally the question is a great question because that is like the pinnacle of look, probably not the pinnacle of my career, but in my heart, in my mind, wow, man, could I have done anything better? I mean, look, also in Knoxville, I won the world junior heavyweight title, and that was huge. And that's another moment in my career that I was really proud to be a part of. That a wrestling company thought enough of me that I would be their champion and represent the company, and so that was huge to me, and it meant a lot to me. But the wrestling fan in me, the mark in me, the whatever you want to call it, the ego in me, man, that tag match with those guys, huge. Now look, you sent me a card, Mike, not that long ago that and it had to have been from the early 80s, and it said I think it said Bob, Brad, and Scott Armstrong versus the Midnight Express. And dude, you think about stuff like that, and you go, wow, man, how fortunate was I to be in the ring with to be one of the 6 guys. I should say 7, because our referees back then were on their game, and good referees. And I think about being in that situation. And at that time in my career, I was super young. I mean, 22 or 3, and I didn't know which way was up. And look, you get on Twitter today, and there'll be some 22 and 3-year-olds that have never wrestled that can tell you exactly how it's all supposed to be. And those guys are totally full of crap. Because there I stood in the middle of all that talent going, oh my God. I'm talking about nervous. Dude, that's nervous. But I was fortunate to be able to stand on the apron and just watch Brad and watch my dad and watch Dennis Condrey and you know what I mean? And see the OG Midnight Express do their thing and go, wow, man, I'm a lucky dude to be standing right here. So those moments and those matches are huge. I just think the one with the Funks and my brother and my dad, and that was huge. I remember with Brad winning the Southeastern Tag Team Championships from Arn Anderson and Jerry Stubbs. And at that time in the South, there was not a better tag team than those 2 dudes. And so it was a big moment in my career because they were great athletes, number 1, great in-ring performers, number 2, and to be able to be in that mix and be a part of that, huge, man, just huge. And so a lot of moments of wrestling that I look back on and go, man, that was fun, and that was fun to be a part of. But Dory and Terry, and that's the biggest moment. Is there a top 3? Dude, there's a top 100. You know what I'm saying? And so we could talk about it all day, but it's just that's the one that just stands out more than any of them,
Yeah.
and was a lot of fun.
Yeah.